Welcome to the 24th Annual Miami Jewish Film Festival. My name is Daniel Vasquez, and I'm excited to be moderating a virtual conversation with director Michal Aronzon and producer Adi Bar Yossef from the movie The Little Things, which is premiering at this year's festival. Thank you both for joining us. I really appreciate your taking your time. How are you?
Thank you very much. We're good.
Yes. We're good. We're very excited to take part in this festival.
So I want to jump. Yeah. Well, I'm so excited to meet you finally face to face. We've had many email conversations, so this is really exciting for me. I want to jump right into it. I wanted to, if you're able to tell us, both of you, how you came to know each other and how your collaboration first started.
So Michal and I met in the Sam Spiegel School. I think like 12 years ago, or maybe more.
2006.
Yeah, and we've had like this immediate connection. We've shared the love of telling stories, and we did both of our graduation films together. I was the cinematographer for Michal's graduation film named Grace, which was a documentary, a wonderful one.
Yeah.
And it traveled the whole world and won prizes. And it was only natural that after we finish school, we do this same collaboration, this time as a producer and a director. And this is how things started.
Very nice. And I wanted to, Adi, since you're speaking, if you could explain your role as a co-director in the process of making the film.
Yeah, so in this film, it was very special because we've started the whole process from the very beginning together. And as it grew and along the way, we understood each other's role more, in a more accurate way, but in a way it felt like it's something that we did together. And I think this question is very interesting because not only my name appears on this slide, also the heroine's name, Yuda Fruman, which you all saw on the screen, is also showing on this card. And the reason is that the three of us were engaged and in every little detail. Of course, Michal and Yudale are on screen, but as a producer and as a co-creator of this film, I think that in every junction, every shooting day, every debate we had in editing room, the script writing, the funding, it was this kind of movie that you don't let the director go and just visit every once in a while. It was working on every detail of the film together. So I think that sums it up.
Nice. So part of the magic in the film for me was that seamless transition of a perspective, where it's set up to begin as a regular documentary, interviewing your subject, finding out about their lives, but suddenly we're given first eye perspective, and that's not very normal in documentaries, to give your subject control like that. Michal, I do want to, you say in the film that that people are more open when they are in front of a camera. However, it seems like Yudale, is it okay if I call him Yudale?
Yudale, yeah.
Yudale. It seems like Yudale was more comfortable being behind the camera. When did you realize that you could show what he was thinking in the way that he filmed?
Okay, so in a way, it relates to the first question you asked about the co-making of the film, because in many ways it's not conventional way of making a film, and it started off as a learning process, because I'll start off with the meeting with Yudele. The first time I met Yudele is actually in the film, documented in the film. You see it in the first interview that you see when he has still a kippah on his head, and he's talking about his dream to solve problems in worshiping God, in the price of becoming secular. That was actually the first time we met, the first time we talked, and for me it was a process of research, and for me it was immediately I was fascinated by him. I thought he was incredibly sincere and open, and I was really fascinated by him, and I wanted to make a film about him. But he didn't want to be a subject in the he didn't want to be a subject of a film at that point, but he did very much want to learn how to make films and to explore life outside of Tkoa settlement. And I saw that he was in a journey. So it started off as a learning process, where he would come once a week to Tel Aviv, every Thursday, from Tkoa, from the settlement, to Tel Aviv, which was very new for him, and we would just stroll with the camera and observe things and have these conversations about life, and then it turned into exercises. He wanted to. He was interested in the camera and in the way he could give his point of view through the camera. Right. So there were small exercises in filmmaking that I suggested, and actually the film is made out of these exercises, these film exercises. For example, the first time you see his home, his house, his family, the first shot is a part of an exercise under the theme of home. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so it was this process that the film. It's important to say that the film, the making of it happened through 7 years, which is a very long process. So so as a learning process, we all kind of understood more and more what this film is and what is going to be in it, and even that the fact that it's going to be a film, it was not obvious from the beginning. Yeah.
So you had tasks or assignments, or like, did you have criteria for the footage you wanted him to film? Was that part of the script that you were writing? Because as the filmmaker, not being in full control of the image, like, were you concerned at all about the aesthetics of the film as a whole? Or like you said, it wasn't a film yet. You didn't know what it was. It was just something you were creating?
It was a dialogue, first of all, a meeting and a dialogue between us. And I think for me, it was another way of understanding what it means to be a director. Because before, when Adi and I met in film school, I think the approach was, there was a very clear, at least the way I understood it, there was a very clear approach of how to make a documentary and where the director should be and what is the power dynamics. Right. And here there was something else. There was this something that kind of was searching for its form, and I think that this is in a way directing, in the sense of giving maybe giving a path, showing the direction. And these meetings in Tel Aviv were the times that we kind of we were seeing, we were looking through the materials, the footage that he brought as exercises, and I learned him and he, and it was this conversation, and I understood and more, and also through my conversations with Adi and observing those footage again and again, understanding more and more about his life, this unique family that we had, the honor and the opportunity to get, a window to. So it was just happening step by step, basically.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Adi, how did you feel about the footage, what you were seeing? Because I know you have a more of a narrative background too. You make narrative films. So how do you see this documentary not being, of the norm?
Yeah. First of all, I love it. Like I feel the heart. It's like a beating heart. Whenever I see it, even though I saw it like hundreds of times, I feel it's so unique because you get to see almost, it sounds like a big word, but truth on the screen. And I know it's challenging, and we knew it all the way because we've got the feedback from people, from fundings, from everyone. But I'm so happy that we stuck to our journey and made this film the way we made it. And I remember the first time that Michal showed me the footage he brought from his home, and it was all shaky, and it started all like blurry and dark, and but something like catched me and took me in. The way he talks, the way he introduces everything, like it's the first time that he's observing it. It was amazing, and that's when I knew there's magic and you can't take it from him. And we knew that, like, we were expecting every week to see the footage he brings, because every time, like, you watch ours and then there's a tiny little bit of footage that it's a pearl, like you
yeah,
and you take it out and you know that and that you can use it, and it's amazing. We shot like 200 hours of footage, and the film is 70 minutes, so yeah, it was a very hard decision in editing, but like every film is so different, and I feel this one has this special way of making it, and I'm so very proud of it. It's I think it's so unique. It brings out Yudele in the best way ever. So basically, I'm just I feel.
Yeah, on that point, I wanted to ask, every person who has a phone can film their experiences or turn a camera on another person. And despite those great advantages of digital video, there's still many who don't understand the sensitivities of how to use the medium. But it felt like Yudele, like, immediately kind of captured what he was thinking and what he was feeling. And no, it felt real, and that was really, really impressive. So from what I'm hearing, I feel like you both think about yourself differently since making this film, about filmmaking in general. Is that correct?
Michal, I give you.
Yes, I think after making this kind of film, it's a big question how to make other films. For me, it's a big question, because it was very much, it took it took for me, it took the sorry for yeah.
It's okay.
It had to be something that I had to give up many thoughts and concepts of how to direct, how to make film, and to how to let go of some ideas of you know, what it is to have the power in your hands. And it raised a lot of ethical questions as well, in how to make, how to approach what it is to have a subject. Is there a subject and the director, you know, because I feel that in order for this film to be it had to have both of us approving, and both of us approving to be on it, you know, to have our, because many of those conversations that you see in the film between us, I didn't think that they would be, we didn't think that they would be in the film. They are outtakes, basically. And when we first edited the film, I didn't, you know, I thought this material is not going to get into the editing room. It's not relevant. And we understood, after a long process, we understood that this is actually it's important to have this frame, the meeting between us and our conversation, because maybe the fact that we didn't think of it as intakes made it it was able to be so intimate and real in a way. And yeah, I think, and so for your question, I think it's I can't think about a different way of making now. I think that very much it has to be a dialogue,
Very collaborative.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on that, I wanted to ask regarding the timeline of the movie, because you said it was shot over 7 years. And the truth is that you can't really write a spoiler for this movie. And not even the trailer tells you what the experience of watching the movie is at all, because it's very specific to its duration and, like life, the accumulation of moments. It's impressionistic and it jumps ahead, and you see Yurale suddenly in the army, and then you see him engage. So how did you approach the chronology of the film? What moments did you decide were important to keep in and keep out? For example, I remember you saying in the movie that when Yurale eulogized his father, it tore your heart. But this moment wasn't included in the movie. And at first I thought, the second time I watched it, oh, did she forget to turn on the camera? Is that what happened? But what conscious choices were you making? And what was maybe personal and shouldn't be in the movie, and what should be kept in? Either of you could answer.
Adi, do you want to answer?
Actually, we had because the editing process was going on for, I don't know, 2 years, if I remember correctly. Then we had at the beginning we had like different cuts for the film, which included more of the story of Yudele and his mother. And there was a cut that we wanted to tell the story about his father and the you know, his approach and ideology. But as we went along and we searched for the more emotional story, we discovered that that we should look into the lessons and the learning that Michal and Yudele, you know, what started the whole thing between them, and use this as a guideline. And we realized that this is a story about a boy getting how do you say it, Bagut?
Growing up, basically.
Growing up, yeah. A boy growing up from being his father's little boy into a man. And actually, there's a funny story about we had to submit the film for funding, and they asked you to write a script. And it was 5 years into our into the documentation, and we were trying to think like what's going to happen at the end. We didn't know, because Yudale was not so he's not the standard. He doesn't have the standard life. He's very unexpected, and so we fantasized and we said, what if he would get married one day? And that day it looked like it's the most unrealistic thing, and eventually it happened, and it surprised everyone. But I think that once we realized that the film is dealing with his the process of growing up and becoming a man, and separating from the childhood and from religion and from his father, then we understood that the story the point that we throw along the way should deal with that subject. And so going to the army and getting married, and the conversations with Michal about religion, about his family, all of them, if you think about them, it's the same topic.
Yudale says to Michal, he tells you that you are his camera, and in a sense he was making the film for you as you were teaching him. Can you talk about, in general, I don't know if this purpose exists in your work, but do you think about what audience is going to watch this when you're making a movie?
I can say that I can say that many times in different screenings, the first 20 minutes until Yudale has this beautiful moment with his father, and they're learning together, and talk about the connection between father and son. Until that point, it's like about 20 minutes. I always sit very, very tensed, and I hope that no one will go out, because I know that there is a kind of special way. I know that the material is kind of edited in a way that it's like rushes, like what do you say that? Like watching the material as it
Right.
sorry.
The dailies, the
dailies,
raw,
yeah, that's
right.
yeah. So the intention was to kind of leave it very, very open and rough edges, and so I wasn't in many cuts before. We kind of we tried to straighten things up and to be very, very tight and all that, but it didn't work. So regarding thinking about the audience, it didn't work. Because when I was trying to kind of say, okay, this is not edible, this is not, it's difficult. It was not alive. It was like trying to kind of straighten Yudale, and it's not possible. He is, as he is, and that's his charm. Yeah. And I wanted to just regarding the eulogy that you asked before.
Yeah. Was that filmed?
Sorry?
Was it filmed? Did you film it?
Yes, it was filmed, and it's a very strong moment. But we had to make a decision there, and we decided that it was in many ways too strong. It felt that this moment is a moment that was only for the time it happened, and it shouldn't be inside the film. It was too too strong. So there
It
was
goes
a
back
decision.
to the ethics that you were speaking of, because in a regular documentary, sometimes you have to decide when to put the camera down. So it seems like in the editing room, this also happens, and what to include, what not to include. It sets the mood for the whole film, right?
Yes, definitely. Yes. And also
I wanted to ask you, go ahead.
no, just to add that
Sorry.
that it's very much to go with it's very much the way Yudale is, because I think that his point of view and the way he holds a camera and observe people, it's always with this gentleness and with this always asking for the approval. And you know, he's very gentle in the way he's observing, and also very intimate. So it's this kind of interesting way of being very close, but still very, you know, how would you say, respect? Yeah. So respectful. So I think that also was a kind of a guideline to follow his spirit, his way of holding the camera.
Huh. I wanted to ask you about spirituality and how you tackled or approached those topics. Because in the film, Yudale is breaking away from it, but the film doesn't really take a stance on whether it's right or wrong. Can you talk about that? Either of you, Adi?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm the most not spiritual person in this threesome.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
that there is this tension in the film between the generations. This intergenerational tension between how to, in one hand, to keep on to follow, you know, the tradition, the path, and all that, and on the other hand, to find Yudale is wanting to find his own way, his own voice, his own way of doing, of worshiping God, as he says. And when he's with us in Q&As and he's asked about his way, he sometimes says that he did not choose to be secular or he did not become secular to sin, you know. It was a real way of asking questions and searching. And I feel that in many ways, the way he asks is more the way that he keeps asking and exploring and searching is kind of the thing that keeps him in faith, in a way, if that makes sense.
And his family has a lot to do with it, because it's a very open-minded family. They want him to look for freedom and think and be and confusion and is accepted. How did they react to the film when they saw it?
They were excited, that they were proud of Yudale. I think that in these 7 years, they lost hope that it would ever be a film. Like there were times that we visited them and they would laugh at us and say, "What are you doing? Like, do you think that it would end up as a film? And like, you're following Yudale, are you sure you're doing it?" It was like a cynical way of you know, laughing at him. And once the film came out, I think it was they saw it as a huge success for him. And I think we had like a very special screening at their home before the film release, and it was this amazing like it could have been one of the scenes inside the film, because you see only a little of the brothers and sisters in the film, but they all have this Yudele quality in them. So we had like amazing conversations afterwards, and it made them think about their father and their relationship between each other, about their mother, about the loss. It was amazing, and they just love it, and they keep encouraging us and helping us, and they're
Do they want a
devoted.
sequel?
A sequel? I don't know. Michal, did they tell you anything about it?
So, in that point, I wanted to ask, at what point did you feel the filming stage was reached its conclusion? Like, when was Yudale's story over?
I think it was very clear for us once he told us that he met Elisheva and that they are going to get married. It was very clear that okay, the marriage is the wedding is going to be something very special, and even though it's not the last scene, but it is. We felt that this was the point. Also, it came from him because he didn't need the camera anymore. It was like, okay, now I can let go of this, and the journey ended. So it was a clear feeling, I guess.
Because it's very normal now to record your life. So I'm assuming Yudale doesn't participate in social media and any of that, no?
Not so much.
No. He's not using the camera anymore. He's a therapist now. Yeah, a physical therapist.
Nice.
And
is he still secular, even though his wife is religious?
Yeah.
They live together, both in their own, in their way of keeping their faith, and they have this very special way of doing it.
No, it's really brilliant. I've told you this before, Michal, that I could watch more and more. If you want to send me the extra footage, I will gladly take it. But no, I just I want to thank you for making this film. I hope to see more Adi and Michal films in the future. So stay through it, stay together. I want to thank you both for coming and everyone else for joining us. I also want to thank all of our members, sponsors, community partners, and especially our presenting sponsors, the Center for the Advancement of Jewish Education and the Greater Miami Jewish Federation, and their continued support throughout all these years. Thank you, our audience, for participating with us, and goodbye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.